another episode of Just My Baby Daddy podcast. It's your favorite baby daddy, AJ. And today we have a subject matter that, is very, very important to me because it's something that I feel as though I've gone through and I'm going through still from time to time. And it's finding yourself within fatherhood. What I mean by that is like when people ask me, well, what do you do? How are you? It's like, well, I'm a dad. Like I don't even know what the hell I do anymore. Like I don't know my activity levels. Like everything I do seems like it just surrounds the kids. Like my whole life revolves around the kids, but it shouldn't necessarily be that way. And I remember making a post about being a washed dad and like making a joke about it, talking about it, and of course came across my page the social media ambassador himself, Mr. Mr. Phillip Brandon, who I've known since when was this? 2001. I didn't even say years.
Nah,
I forgot.
nah,
I'm not
you right.
supposed to say
It's
years. It's a long time.
a long time. Yeah,
A
01.
long time. And we'd known each other way before we were fathers. Long time before kids ever thought about. So let me ask you a question. How do you feel as though you can still maintain who you are? But it's like I'm the dad still though. Like I'm still Phil, but I'm just Phil the dad.
Yeah. So that's a good question. It's a good question in that I'm still in that process of figuring it out. But one of the things I've kind of had to do was like, okay, there are definitely days where I feel washed. You know what I'm saying? You see your homeboys. Some of them might got kids, some of them don't, but they taking trips or they out with their significant other, just making the moves that we probably used to make when we were a little bit younger. So the good news is that, once I hit, 30 plus, 40 plus, the need to be at every happy hour, there is no longer like a need for that. Like my Fridays, I be slumped on the couch somewhere, you know what I'm saying? Whereas years ago, we was freezing in the line at Love or Dream or whatever, trying to get inside the club. Right? So my whole perspective on that has changed. But I just think now it's like, all right, if you no longer really occupy those type of spaces, what else can you be doing? My oldest is 17. And it was funny when he started playing soccer, and I became the proverbial soccer dad, and we shuttling him and his homies around, and going to game to game. And at that time, it was kind of cool. I'm not gonna lie to you. I was amped up. We was rooting for the kid, and wanting to see. You meet with the other parents, so it's like, okay, I'm kind of finding my tribe. Like this is where I'm kind of settled into at. And then, boom, 2022 happens, and we welcome a set of twins, and it's like, oh shit, like we restarting this thing all over. So it's like now you meeting with younger parents or taking them to daycare. And I'll be honest with you, I don't really have no interest in kicking it or talking to the other parents like that as we dropping them off and keeping it pushing. But I say all that to say, I just kind of like a lot of things that I do. I involve my kids nowadays. So if it's a venture that I'm doing with my podcast or, taping on YouTube, a lot of times they're involved in that, and they become the content or the subject matter for which I'm shooting. So it's like, you can't talk about chasing skirts no more at Howard. You can't talk about clubbing and all that. Like those things that's not you. You married with kids, so like you got to talk about things that you are actually doing. So that's kind of how I've been able to reconcile myself with who I am currently. And like, yo, you are a dad, bro. Like, face it, you are a father of four. Face that too, and you enjoy it. I do enjoy it, but there are times when it's like, this week they on spring break, so they all in the crib, all four of them. Nobody's at school. Some of them are sick. Some of them are, my oldest is cranky. He's whatever. He's pissed for whatever reason. So you just dealing with all types of attitudes and emotions. And it's four boys. It's no girls involved. It's four boys. So somebody don't want to play. Somebody got his toy. The brother got one toy. The other brother's like, Doc, you can't have it. So fights and arguments breaking out. I'm looking at it like, this is how the hell did this happen? But also it's a beautiful thing. I just try to take it's beauty in the struggle, man. And it's beauty in the struggle. But I will say for dads like you and me, It's like embrace who we are, man. Embrace the fact that you are a father and that you get to parent a child, and that hopefully this person will embody your mannerisms and your belief systems, and you teaching that person, son or daughter, how to move in life. You know what I'm saying? So I take pride in that.
So, but let me ask you this: do you ever get to the point where you're like, man, I miss the old me?
Bruh, 100%, 1,000%. What? Like what? I probably wake up with that thought at least once a week. Le- At, at least once a week. Huh? Yeah, hell yeah, man. I miss being able to just kind of, move and not have to change 2 or 3 diapers before I leave the house.
Oh my God.
I, miss being able to just maybe ride in the car, listening to, some ill shit mixtape or whatever, without having to play like Baby Shark. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, it's certain things and adjustments that.
Well, ain't nobody. It is 2025. If your ass is still playing a mixtape, bro, you got much bigger problems to change your diapers.
Say whatever the latest joints that come out, whatever what my artists. I ain't into like all this new stuff. You know what I'm saying? So I still listen to old school. I'm an old school hip hop head, like that. Just charges to the game, but I might
So
want to
you
listen to.
put your kids involved with that though. Like, so are
What?
they old school hip hop heads now? Like, is that something that you like?
Nah,
All right, this is still a part of me. Like, you getting this?
they are like my youngest will fight me. Not my youngest, my oldest. He makes music, makes beats. Him and his boys at school, they rap and all types of stuff. But nah, that John, he won't accept my genre at all. My genre is washed to him. We're the fogies, which is disrespectful. I can't believe he says that,
But that's like the
because
'70s.
I guess to a degree it is.
No, they do
It
to
is.
a degree. Like it is though. See, that's what I'm
It
talking.
is.
That's the. It's like it's hard to let go. Like, bro, it's over. It's like it's over. It comes to a point where it's like we gotta face the fact that we become out there. Like we become. I ain't gonna say become our dad. I don't know my dad, but like we become our parents. You know what I'm saying? Like think about it. When I'm fit, if you're 15, 16, at that point, that's like me listening to music that's in the '70s. Like, what is that? That does not sound like anything I'm listening to at all. And then if
Yeah.
you are going to say that rap, like that rap is not there at all. But like, so do you embrace that and like still bring that around them, or are you the dad, like you said, we're never gonna be riding Baby Shark because I can't. I'm sorry, like these kids going to get first off, fuck your bitch, and like they're gonna get it. They're gonna
Yeah.
get it.
Yeah, so me and my oldest, we're constantly battling, for the me. He want to listen to, all the young cats that he got, and I'll try, man. I'll try just to be like, all right, look, it's me and you. We trying to bond. I'm trying to understand like your world, but like you play that shit for like 3 minutes, and I'm like, I can't like flip it out, like take it out. Let's go. So I end up taking control over. Like, yo, it's my car anyway, so you got your earphones, bro. So like I'm gonna listen to my stuff. You listen to your earpods. We are just gonna be a house divided on that. You don't have respect for the cats that we grew up listening to, and that's what it is. Like I cannot change his mind on that. I've tried for years now, so I'm listening to what I want to listen to. I can't him and his genre just we just collide. It just don't work. It's like what's it like punk rock? Kid, you just listen to punk rock, it just sound like straight just what is this shit? Like turn this off. Like I cannot do it. So that's how I feel about it. And no disrespect to them young cats that's out there getting it, doing their thing. It's just we just gonna agree to disagree. Like, I'm not saying y'all are moving the culture backwards, but it's just the sound. It's just the taste. It's just not it's not my preference.
Now, I never, again, full transparency, I didn't have my dad around, right? So I don't know what it was like when you hear the conversation about like my dad was like back in my day, the music and all of that. But if I had to guess, that shit would sound a lot like what you just sounded like right there. Like, that's exactly what you sounded like. Like, yeah, like, back in my day, but we've become those people now.
We have.
We have, and how do you just accept that? How do you come to accept that?
You know how? I'm gonna tell you how. Look, I feel as though I feel as though there's golden eras in everything, right? So just think about this. What was your favorite? basketball team of all time.
Man, I don't know.
So so I'm gonna try to beat you too. I'm gonna say like the '95 Bulls had the best club, right? Some people gonna debate me on it. I just feel as though there are pockets, golden pockets, where the music was just the best, sound the best. I think it was dope music that was created in the '70s, dog. Like I love Marvin Gaye and all those cats that came up out of that era. Just because I'm a connoisseur of music, so I love music and all its tonalities and samples and all of that. I don't think the young kids quite understand it. I think they just want to hear the yo, we lit, we lit, we lit, we lit, and that's it. That's all they hear. Versus I hear samples, I hear, it's love ballads or it's whatever. And so I'm able to like compartmentalize music. I love music. So how do I embrace it? I just feel like I'm right. I feel like my generation, we had it right. Dog,
That
we had it right. There's no
that's
debate.
how you embrace it. You just say, I'm right. Like
Yeah, we
that.
right, nigga. Yo, we got Pac. We're right. We had Pac. We had Biggie. We're right. We got Nas. We're right. That's it. There's nothing left to be said to me. To me, personally. Now, and then you fast forward, and what I'm saying, cats like Nipsey, like we're rest in peace, Nip. Man, I love Nipsey Hussle, bro. And he was a younger cat, but it was he's a younger cat, but the way his mind and his influence and what he was doing was kind of like reminiscent of the cats that we would listen to coming up. That's just so I just got to go with the cats that are just doing their thing, keeping it a buck, and that era is just we were right in that era. I'm sorry, like it got no better than that.
So is that what you use to try to use as your time to get away and just to make sure you like stay in tune? I'm still myself. You use music or what other venues or avenues do you use?
Yeah, I mean, definitely, music keeps me grounded. Always keeps me, reminding, like, those times I might throw in a, old Jay-Z album, remind me of Georgia Ave, Homecoming or something like that. Throwing something even before then, Nas remind me of, back home. Like to go to the gym, you know what I'm saying? Like to go to the gym and try to blow off some steam. I need to be in there a whole lot more, but when I do go,
This is
it's
a
lit.
this is a visual podcast field. You ain't gonna be out here lying to people now.
Not, yeah, and yo, and for the people to be it's we
We're
are
gonna
a
hold
work
you
in
accountable
progress.
now. Yeah,
That's it.
yeah.
We are a work in progress. Now, I can still bench and shit. Now I'm still strong, you know. Yeah, we got some work to do on them love handles and that big back. More cardio is needed. So yeah, I had a love hate with the gym, but it's starting to be more love than hate now. So try to do that. I'm with my kids every day, man. So like whether we go to the park or we're recording something, my production team, shout out to Grand Productions, whether we're recording something, they're with me a lot of those times. So like my day is sprinkled in with the kids, but because I can't just like ignore them. There is no like we don't get an outlet like that. And we ain't just you can't just turn it off completely. Right. So right now, recording this podcast is an outlet for me. Whatever we do this 30 minutes, 45 minutes, whatever we doing, this is my little island of escape where I get to talk and, talk to an adult or other adults and not, talk to kids. So like this is a big part of that recreational time, if you will.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, I use it for that because it helps me. I get a lot of advice, and like right now, I don't know if she's asleep or not. I know the baby was crying. I had to put her down. I had to start. I did it. I did it because sometimes it's just you need it, and it's good to have somebody else to talk to about all the different issues
Thousand
that you're going through,
thousand
all
percent.
the
Yeah, I
different
couldn't
issues.
when you posted that the other I mean, when I say it just like resonated with me, man, like watching, I was like, damn, like yeah, I be feeling like that. I went to my cousin's birthday party in was it November? Yeah, November last year. And it was dope because it was like he just got engaged, so him and his future wife and all types of stuff. But I was just looking around, I was like, yo, don't none of y'all got kids. Y'all out here living y'all best life. And I can tell it. Like you could just the way they walked in the room
You
and how they
become
were
a
acting.
hater. You know,
Yeah.
you try not to do it, but you become a hater.
I was a hater. In that moment, I was like, wait a minute, okay, y'all
And
niggas
you
just
can't,
living the
and you
best
can't,
life.
and look, and you can't help, and look. Some habits are hard to fight, and not only do you become a hater, you
Yeah,
instantly go back into like, I mean, I go back into bad habits and bad thoughts instantly when you see a bunch of like young, happy, single dudes, just with no kids and stuff. I go back into, man, I go into like, I shouldn't think this way, but I instantly be like, you all out here, you ain't getting no bitches though. Right? Which I shouldn't think like that, right? If you are young and happy and you you ain't got no kids, the first thing that comes to my mind and my hating ass mind is, well, that's why you ain't got no bitches. I don't, and I shouldn't think like that, and I shouldn't talk like that. I should become more mature, right? But those shits are hard to fight.
In my head, the only thing I keep saying, well, I was like, well, all that money y'all spending on that, on them old fashions and that whiskey, at least I'm gonna keep a couple dollars in my pocket. You know what I'm saying? But I don't really hate on them to that degree.
I be hating.
I
I
don't
be
hate on
hating.
'em to that degree. But do be looking like, damn, I do miss, just having that luxury of riding out, man. I tell people all the time, my kid be looking at me too. I say, it was a time where you should just gas up the all black 2002 Act TL, had that thing freshly polished, you know what I'm saying, that Saturday, and you just hitting the street, you might got a bottle, got you a black and mild, and you just, woof, midnight marauding, dog. Like, it was just that was the time. And sometimes maybe I'm not even going to the club, I'm just in the street. We just outside. And you ain't doing none of that now. I'm not doing none of that shit right now. Like, it's not
Bill,
happening.
you are 1,000% a '70s grandfather. Like that's exactly that. Because you're naming years and everything. Because it's just like somebody talking about '76 Chevelle or something. Like that's what it sounds like. You're talking about a 23-year-old car like it's new. So, but let me ask you this: do your kid, at any point, do you look at your kids and be like, "Man, y'all have no idea who I really used to be, like who I am."
Oh man, 100%. And and I think a big part of me, I be trying to remind them, like, yo, dog, like, you got, I'm a nice guy, but I need y'all to know I was outside before outside was a thing. You know what I'm
Thing.
saying? We was outside for real, for real. So I try to remind them, and that I think goes in one ear out the other. They really don't care. They don't really, especially the old one. Like, yeah, all right, yeah, you and your war stories, that, all right, yeah, whatever. Like, you know what I'm saying? Go have a seat, dog. I'm like, okay, okay.
So, when was the first time that you really felt that like old man feeling?
What's up, bird in my eye? Allergies. That old man feeling. Probably, man. It wasn't when my first son was. It was definitely when my first son was born, but it was probably when he was around like 10 or so. And like I said, the cats that I used to kick it with, I remember I was living in Atlanta for a little bit, for like 5 years, and I was still going out. Like, I was still hitting the club every now and again. It wasn't like frequently, but then it was like, I think I had a conversation with my wife at the time, and she was like, you're not a young cat no more. Like, you got responsibilities, and I don't mind you, kicking it, doing X, Y, and Z, but I'm gonna need you to be a little bit more present. And so I was like, okay. And I just think kind of around that time frame, maybe he was like 5, 6, and things just kind of just started slowing up. Like, the invites. Let me tell you, just what happened. This what happened. The invitations become less and less
Ah,
because cats know, like, I can't really. You think he can come outside? He got the baby and all. Nah, he probably can't even go. And so all of a sudden now you just seeing people on Facebook or whatever social media, and you're like, yo, so y'all went out to such and such? Oh, okay, how was it? Oh, it was cool. So, all right, cool. I was in town that weekend. Oh, where? Yeah, we just figured he was tied up with the kid. Da 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 da. So I think at that point is when it really started to sink in. Like, oh shit, like, these cats they leaving me in the dust. But it's just because they single and they want to do single stuff.
so let me ask you this: did you start the transition? Like, did a lot of your friends start to have kids at the same time, or were you just out there by yourself? Because that's one thing that I can say is a huge benefit for me is me and my friends, my closest friends that up here, we just started having kids back to back to back. Like I said, it was 8 kids within 9 years. So all of them.
Nah, it wasn't even like that because a lot of my friends, they were kind of like spread out. Like, some of them wasn't even getting married for after a while. So most of my friends had
It's
kids.
two totally different things.
Yeah, right, right. So yeah, yeah, most of my people was having kids, and then the ring was coming, later on. So a lot
Yeah,
of us
yeah.
actually had a lot of us had kids, kind of, fairly early, like in our early 20s and all that. but we weren't all living in the same place. Many of us were in different states, so I didn't really feel that impact. But my core group, um, I remember, I do remember distinctly. It was one homecoming, and I was living out in I was out Germantown, so I was out Montgomery County. And yeah, yeah, and we supposed to go link up with my cousin and a couple other people that came in town. And I just remember like, okay, we did go out, but I remember being just tired as hell. Remember just being like, because it was a work week for me with kids, shuttling kids back and forth. So the thrill wasn't, quite there. And then I remember that drive just being something crazy. And then they was all like, most of us was drinking and, a little drunk. And they was just kind of like passing out, in the living room. And I'm like, nah, this ain't it. Like I need my whole bed. Like I need to go home. Like this is crazy. So that's when the oldness started to kick in. I'm like, okay, I might be I might be graduating out of this a little bit because again, these cats are still wilding out. They're still wilding out, doing their thing. I was like, nah, nah, I'm out. Peace out. So I don't remember what year that was, but I remember that kind of took a toll on me. Like, oh shit, like this just started to become a thing now.
Yeah, homecomings can do that to you, man. I remember my it's crazy. I haven't been back to homecoming about in years, and it's all because of homecoming. Let me know. Yeah, I need to slow down.
Yeah.
I woke up. I woke up in the hallway outside. I woke up in the hallway, and then ended up getting back inside the suite, and then I woke up in the car, and it was like, all right, yeah,
Yeah.
it's about time to slow down.
Yeah, it'll humble you, dog. It'll humble you.
And then
Yeah,
got to drive. Then got to drive back and then knowing you got the kids and everything, they ain't gonna care. They don't
man,
care. They
they
don't
don't
care
care
about a
enough about
hangover. They don't care about none of that.
none of that. So, and it was definitely plenty of times where like, yeah, you might have crushed it a little bit too much on Friday or Saturday, and then Sunday, you not yourself. But the show must go on. You know what I'm saying? Um, so I take all that into stride, and I don't try to be more than who I am. Like I know myself now to be like, yo, don't push those limits, dog. You good? You good? You don't got to prove nothing to nobody. You know what I'm saying? Like you don't got to outdrink nobody. You don't got to outdo nothing. Just go have yourself a good time. Set your watch for when it's a wrap.
I'm gonna go
It's a wrap.
home.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I become the most responsible that my wife probably be like, hell no, you bullshitting. But in terms of in terms of what I would used to do, nah, I'm not doing that. You know, nah, I'm good. Yeah, you got too much to lose. There's too much on the line. So you gotta know the edge now. But I think everything that we talk about is making me realize like, yeah, we getting old.
Yeah. Oh, the 2002 Acura didn't do it.
Hey man, I had to pay I had to paint that context because yeah, like just think I mean just think about like, I don't know, old uncle or something like that, man. And I know they had their favorite car and they can tell you the details of the car. And I can tell you the details of this car because this is like my baby right here. So I can tell you how the rims look, how the tent look, everything, man. And when I was pulling up, that I was getting the attention. That's what you a young boy. You want all the smoke. So I was like, yeah. So I could tell you everything about it, but again, it don't
I
matter.
can remember. I feel you. I can remember. I had that. It was. I forgot the year. It was my 626. I had a Mazda 626 when I got to Howard. And on Georgia Avenue Day, the motherfucker got broken into, stolen the radio, everything. So, and, and then, I mean, it's, time's over now. I thought I was like, man, forget this. I think I can get some insurance. I was told, not knowing any better, probably even before my birthday came, I'm still 17 years old. I'm like, yo, then get some insurance money because my windows broke. And like, oh, well, I'm going to break everything. Bust the whole goddamn car up. Next thing you know, I don't get no damn insurance money because I only have what you call that shit liability insurance. So
Oh yeah, so you know the look, yeah.
yeah, so my
So y'all
dumb
jump.
ass, yeah, my dumb ass running around with a broken ass car because I didn't. Yeah, it was bad. I was bad. Good
That's
old freshman time.
oh that's bad. Yeah. They did eventually get my car for airbags though. I ain't gonna lie to you, and that should hurt. Yeah, that should hurt. Silver Spring, I'll never forget. I partied overnight, came back. It was like a spree. At the apartment when I was at the apartment, and they must have hit like three, probably four cars in a row. Did the same shit, so calculated. But I had full coverage.
And it's the thing. We're with Brandon. Now this is with dads and we all at home and stuff now. But like our kids will probably never imagine none of this stuff.
And I will say this: the way in which we had to come up, my son and my kids are so guarded. I mean, you talk about silver spoon, bro. Like they really getting silver spoon treatment. So, do I prefer it that way? To a degree, I do, just because like I know my oldest wouldn't be able to face a lot of the obstacles that we came up in. But as a parent, that's what you want. You want better for your kids. You know what I'm saying? I went through that, so you don't got to go through that type of. But also, a lot of that stuff kind of helped shape me a little bit better. You move a little bit different when you know better. So I just don't want them to be naive. Life is sweet all the time because sometimes it's really not. That was some tumultuous years between 18 and 22, man. You trying to finish up school, but you're in the city, so there's a lot of stuff that's still happening, and you gotta figure it out.
People don't get it. People's getting robbed.
I
walking
tell
back to the walking back to the dorms.
yo, it was on, bruh. It was on. They do not, and luckily, all the homies. I don't want to put them out blast, but the crew we was kicking it with, uh, Lenny and them. Yo, they was a part of every at least 5 times. Them cats got the joke, but
You
somehow,
know,
somehow, I was never with them on their dumbass occasions when that stuff was happening, and at least 2 times I was supposed to be with them, but somehow I don't know. I was making it back
you
to the
set
dorm
them
by
up.
myself. Nah, I ain't set them up. You would think so. That's what it looked like. That's what it looked like. Yeah, you would think I set them up too, but nah, I don't wish them no ill. Yeah, man, that shit was a thing. Like, all right, you timing, when you trying to go and catch the bus. And for me at the time, I was living off campus, so I'd be at the library. They had to walk all the way down, what's that street, to get to Elm, and then to get to Rhode Island just to catch the bus. So yeah, it was different, bro. It
Yeah.
was
So
different.
let me ask you this: when we talk about being washed and all of those things, but that's now. Is there anything that you talked about in your past that your kids just like, I can't believe it?
I mean, we talk a lot about the Howard days, just because it's so visceral, and what the just I could still smell the way the dorm smelled, like when you just walking in Elm Street. I remember the way it smelled, everything. It looked like how we used to have to take the showers. It'd only be like one bathroom, and like everybody rushing to the showers. So he'll probably know nothing about that. Hopefully,
Yeah, I hope not. Like, what the fuck?
let's go to some, some way. So I don't know. Some schools still haven't really updated their dorms like that, but that would be a plus for me. Like if your dorms is trash, I can't send them there. This is we fought too long. So I remember. I mean, yeah, that's a big thing. What you just said, just kind of having to keep your head on the swivel, not to get robbed at school, was kind of like give you PTSD a little bit. So when I tell them stuff like that, I think he get a little shook about Howard. I'm like, well, Howard's still a dope place. Don't get me wrong. Like, it's still, I would never change that decision for anybody. But that was just the time because we're living in somebody else's environment as well. Like it's somebody else's neighborhood too, not just a school. So we're coming to school, but you gotta forget people live here. Like this they block. So you kind of have to abide by the rules and know how to move, right? So you can't come out here being no asshole, flaunting and being flossy. So that was rule number one. So I tell them that. I tell them I think a lot of stuff on like just like how I try to clean up my finances. That I'm gonna try to impart in him. Like it's a lot of stuff I don't want him to do when he start getting a credit card or making purchases. I really hope he'll be able to purchase a lot sooner. You know what I'm saying? So these are definitely details where I'm like, you could put yourself in a much better situation than I did. As far as either whether loans go or just with your credit awareness. So we'll be having those conversations real soon. And but as far as like, do they believe or hold credibility? I tell them all the time, like I've been to so many concerts, I've seen, your favorite MC's MC. I've seen them, might have hung out with them, for a little bit. Like we were outside, like literally just we were chilling. We did a lot of stuff up and down 95. Like 95 was New York, Philadelphia. We was everywhere, bro. So whether that, I don't know if it sinks in. I don't even know if he cares about it. I care because
Oh, yeah, because
we
it's
was
your
we was
history.
moving. It was history, yeah.
Yeah.
But for him, I think it's just like a drop in the water. It's like, all right, well, that's cool. You know, where I do see a connect though is like sometimes if I talk about like a art. Okay, so for instance, he like this artist by the name of Destroy Lonely, right? I had never heard of this cat, didn't know much about his music, but he's out of Atlanta. So what I found out was the Destroy Lonely's father was actually was in DTP with Ludacris, and his that brother's I-85 or whatever his name was.
20.
I-20, yeah, that's his name. So I didn't know that. I didn't know that thing. Right, I-20, I-85, I-20 was his cat's name. I was like,
Yeah.
oh, I remember that cat in that video. I was like, oh, that's his dad. So we in there chopping it up about that, and that was like, okay, he was like, you know his dad? I'm like, I don't know him, but I know that verse that he had. He's like, really? Oh, that's cool. And so we found some common grounds there. Yeah, it's crazy. Our paths don't intertwine a lot, but I try to remind.
So one thing I do, especially with my kids in the car, I I think about where they are now, what age they are, and I talk about stories that was happening with me at that time, right? So whether it's music, so we ride in the car, like I'll tell them to pick a year or whatever, or I'll be like, they're 10, like, so it's 1993. 1993, man, I was doing this, and this, and they cannot half the stuff that I tell them. And it's like, yeah, like how different our life is. I used to tell my son, like, man, I would bend to your much money for no reason. I would just did it just to do it.
Just to do it.
Like because my cousin used to take me around different neighborhoods to fight other little kids just cause he said my little cousin could beat your brother up, your little brother up. And that's just the way things were. That's just the way things were at the time. But he looks at me like, you wouldn't tell the teacher? Like what the fuck? Like what are you talking about? Like I was like
What?
I'm like, yeah, like so I was like, what
We don't even
happened? What
talk to
happened
our
if you got
teachers
into
like
a
that.
fight? Like what happened if you get into somebody pushed you in school? I'm gonna tell the teacher. And then part of me is like, that is correct. But the other side of me is like, yeah, I definitely would have pushed your ass. And we the same size too, so I know you couldn't beat me.
Oh,
I
man.
know you couldn't beat me.
Yeah. So here's what you got to do. So that's just maturation, right? Because you're raising a young child to be a responsible adult,
Right.
hopefully, right? And I know it pains you because we're cut from different cloths. We're like, yo, dog, what like I tell my son a lot. My son like to drop dimes a lot, bro. Like he stitch on me at the drop of a dime.
Oh my gosh, I can't deal with that.
Yeah. He stitch on me like fast, fast. I'll be like, hey, yo, let me talk to you. Like this, not that I don't want you out here, lying or nothing like that. But it's certain things that you just gonna have to like. You can't do
Man
that.
up.
Yeah,
You're gonna
yeah,
learn man code around here.
yeah. That man code. So we do get into them type arguments, if you will. I can see you going to neighborhoods beating up kids though, bro. Freshman year, you you
That
you
was a
was type
long time
you
ago.
was you was type swole that back then, freshman year. So I can see
It
you was
was
probably knocking kids
it
out.
was it was anger issues back then. Long time. That's why I'm so glad for growth and change.
Yeah, yeah. 100%. That's crazy. I mean, the most I could probably tell my youngin, back 95 or so. But
Jesus.
again,
I'm sorry.
I'm I,
That's 30 years ago.
yeah, I mean, yeah, he go again to him. It's like that's like ancient years. He's like, what the
It
hell does that
is
got to do
though.
with me?
Think
It
think
ain't got
about
nothing
it
to do.
though. Think about it. Think about what you're saying. You
Yeah,
just think about put yourself in his shoes. So that's like 1997. That's like somebody telling you, well, you know, back in 1967, like, who the fuck, who cares? Y'all had black and white. You didn't even have a cell phone. You ain't had no internet. You couldn't connect to people. You were a dinosaur.
It was
That's
just
what we
us.
are to these kids. That's what
Yeah,
we are
we
to
had a
these kids.
yeah. I didn't even have a pager yet. I didn't have a pager yet. So back then, so yeah, that's I hate that dynamic. I feel like though my twins though, I feel like they might take more. They might listen a little bit better. I just got this feeling.
It's so much further. They're so much further removed too
I
than
know they can be like,
your current.
care nothing about that, man.
Yeah,
Old
yeah,
man.
yeah.
I
My
saw this
daughter.
I saw this episode on Blackish where dude Dre was hooping with the older boy, and the older boy's like pretending that he had a bad knee or something like that, and then he messed around and crossed him up and dunked on his ass. So it's like, yeah, you watched, old man. Like it'd be times we be having those type of like exchanges where I just feel like, damn.
Yeah, I had that with my 9-year-old son, and I ain't gonna lie to you. He tried to celebrate, but I stopped him from celebrating too much because if he would try to, I'm gonna put hands on the boy. I feel like, yeah, you might could beat me in this little football game, but I could whoop your ass, but I won't. Some of them will treat you like you're still my son, and not just some random kid or some random nigga on the street. So I'm gonna treat you a certain type of way. Well, I'm glad I'm not the only person that had that same feeling of, you know, I'm washed. I'm just done. These kids have drained it all out of me. Pause. That was gonna sound really
Oh,
bad.
yeah, that's
That was gonna sound horrible.
yeah,
Well,
you wrong.
actually, the kid's mom drained it out of me. That's how they ass got here. But those things are over too. Yeah, ain't no more draining that shit either. Me and the doctor appreciate you. I might be washed, but I'll be here the cool ass granddaddy because no more kids.
I'm on kids, yeah.
None of that anymore. But I appreciate your time, man. Where can everybody else reach out to you and follow you?
Yeah, so definitely can reach out at official Philip Brandon on Instagram. On my handles are on Instagram. Like yourself, I also have a podcast. So we just wrapped up season 2 of To Whom It May Concern, the podcast. So you can follow To Whom It May Concern, the podcast at on Instagram as well. Episodes will probably be out at the very end of April as they're being edited down, and you can see them. I'll be throwing a few things on Instagram, but you can catch it live on YouTube. So we got a few things in motion.
And what is it based off of?
Yeah, so
That's
to
what I'm
whom it may
saying.
concern is it just really so when you talk about okay, you have a podcast or you got a format or you got a platform, I'm definitely talking to all of the fathers for sure. I'm talking to all the millennial parents. I'm talking to, all the young cats. So like if you find any resonance with what I'm saying, like, oh yeah, I remember that 2002 Acura, or I remember what old boy was talking about.
Ain't no young cats doing.
And the young cats doing that, but if you can relate, like if then to
Yeah,
whom it may concern, I'm speaking to you, man, and I just want to really about you just kind of uplifting the community. Really, I talk a lot about past and present, things we were doing before that no longer appeals to you, just can't things you just can't keep up with, and it's funny, I infuse a lot of humor into that. Make sure you tune in, and for season 3, man, I'd love to have you on the pod. We can
I'll
chop it
be
up.
there. I'll be there.
Yes,
Appreciate it,
sir.
man.
Yes, sir. I appreciate your time, Doc.
Episode of Just My Baby Daddy podcast. I know you like what you saw. So what I need for you to do is go back and look at past episodes. Make sure you like, subscribe, and share our YouTube page, Just My Baby Daddy Podcast. And you can follow us on all social media at Just My Baby Daddy Pod.